So, today we are going to install the R.ID drivers, or known as Nemes drivers, on RX 6700 XT. To do this, you will first need to uninstall the current display drivers via DDU or display driver uninstaller. I'm gonna put a link for that in the description as well. And well, yeah, what you're gonna do here is clear and restart, and here you choose GPU and AMD. After that's done, it's gonna restart and you're basically back to the desktop without a driver installed. For this case, I'm not gonna do this, I'm gonna do it afterwards, just so I can record this all and, well, just show you how it's done basically. So, what we're gonna do is, I have my thumb drive with AMD drivers, I'm gonna link what I'm gonna use in the description. Well, since we have a 6700 XT, that means we have a Navi GPU, RDNA2 to be exact. So we need R.ID, Polaris, Vega, Navi drivers. And we're gonna use the newest one. So not this one which I have here, which is the older one, but the 25.3.1. So to do this, we're gonna extract it first. This can take a little moment. So, after successfully extracting it, we have this folder here. As you can see, it's not fully done extracting yet, so we gotta wait a little moment. But to show you something, we have also the AMD cleanup utility bundled in here. So if you don't want to use DDU or display driver uninstaller, you can also use this. This is basically AMD's own proprietary tool for that, and it also works pretty good. But it only works for AMD GPUs. So when we're here, we can use the setup or the setup native. It basically doesn't really matter which one you're gonna use at this point anymore. Back then it did matter, but right now it doesn't anymore. So we're just gonna go with setupnative.exe. Then we have this. To disable the music, you can just press D and enter if you don't want that. So, now we got start the driver installation, manage AMD Radeon software interface, blah 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 blah. We don't need anything of this besides one. So we go into one. And this opens this little nifty window. Detects our system hardware. And then we're here in the installer. So here you can choose between the standard profile and the FlexArc profile. The standard profile is basically for single GPU use or multi-GPU use. The FlexArc profile is basically if you're using an APU with another GPU, or if you're using a Mac with an eGPU, or for example, if you're using two different GPUs, like let's say a GCN GPU, let's say like a R9 290, and your main GPU is a Vega 64, then you also would choose FlexArc. But for this, we only got a 6700 XT, so we go for standard profile. Here we select the preset. So, since this is a Navi card, you will only need to select the consumer for Navi R1. If you have any other card, be it a Polaris card, so RX 400 series, RX 500 series, or be it a Vega card, so RX Vega 64, 56, then you would choose the bottom one. For GCN, so being R9 290 or whatever, you don't use this driver. I'm gonna link the other driver for GCN down below as well, because there's a different version for that one, and if you choose to use this one for the GCN, the installer is just gonna fail, or you're gonna have immense graphic problems. So, since we're here, we have a 6700 XT, so we choose Navi R. Next. Here we can choose the AMD driver mode. So basically, either the AMD stock one, like this with the original drivers, or the R.ID community driver mode. It's basically just a little bit of tweaks being done in the toolbox. You can choose which one you ever want. Like, it gives you also a little description about whatever each is. But for me, I usually only use the basic one because that's enough. Advanced doesn't give any, well, let's say too many advantages over basic. I sometimes actually think it's, well, the opposite of giving an advancement, so I'm choosing basic here. One-click parameter configuration. Here you choose factory R.ID. You can ignore the other two, basically. So, now we're here. This is basically the most important part, you could say. Here at desktop mobile switchable GPU mode, you select whatever GPU you have. So basically, do you have a single GPU? Do you want it in a fucking AMD stock mode? Do you want a hybrid switchable mode, eGPU mode, or whatever? I usually don't use the multi-monitor modes because I don't see any difference between them and the single monitor ones. But for this case, we only have a single GPU. I also only have a single monitor for this setup here right now, so we're going to choose single APU/GPU. This is the ULPS, so basically like power saving mode. You should either disable it, so disable ULPS, or long delay. I've been getting pretty good results with long delay, so I'm using long delay. Driver branding mode, well, since we are using Adrenaline as gaming, basically, we want Adrenaline red. You can choose whatever you want, but it doesn't really, change much. This is the CCC installer. You can basically ignore it at this point because we're going to install it in a different way, as the normal installing, well, way doesn't correctly work anymore. So yeah, we can ignore this. So we do driver only, no interface. For software package type, I think you can ignore this as well for right now, but we're gonna do without relive. Relive is basically the DVR, the Shadowplay competitive tool, I think? Is that what? How you gonna call it in English? I don't know, but like, well, it's a record, like OBS and stuff. But I don't need it since I'm using OBS, so I'm going to do without relive. And for the Radeon software profile, I'm gonna do standard, so required for AMD tuning section. I don't want advanced, I just want standard. The basic and minimal won't have AMD tuning section, so no Wattman, no overclocking, no underclocking, no undervolting. So you definitely want standard or advanced here if you want to overclock your card. After that's done, you click on done, as you could have seen here right now, and then you can check again whatever you chose, basically. And if you double checked and everything's right, or wrong maybe, you can press C to reconfigure. I can show you that. Then we are back here. Choose this real quick, just to show you basically. There we go. Then we are back here, and then we press S to begin the installation. After that, I know it's a bit buggy on my screen, I don't have clue why that is the case, but here you can choose between Microsoft, SDI and cancel. The last one is cancel, don't get confused by this. The middle one is SDI and the top one is Microsoft. But what you want here is definitely Microsoft, because SDI, or Snappy Driver Installer, can be a bit finicky or even install wrong drivers at some point, so you would definitely want to choose Microsoft here. So now, as you can see, the installation is completed. If we open up GPU-Z, we should also already see the new driver version being installed, being 25.3.1. At least I hope it overridden it. Yep, it did. We still need to restart. That's also why this is all not looking as it should be. Also, don't get confused by this showing a 6750 XT now. This is just a spoof for the graphic card name, but it doesn't actually change your graphic card. It's just there to remove blockages from the driver itself and give you a better driver experience, basically. There's nothing else with this, so don't get worried about this. Okay, so after we've done this, we are not complete yet, because right now you wouldn't have Radeon settings installed. What you want to do is download the dependencies. I've got them on the flash drive already, so I'm just gonna use these. I'm gonna link them obviously in the description. Okay, now it did work. I chose 2420 because otherwise I gotta re-download the 2431. But now it's working. It's basically just doing its thing. Just leave it, wait till it's done. It can take quite a bit, so don't get worried by it getting stuck on this or anything. And as you can see, it's completed now. Now you can close this. And what you're gonna do, it might not pop up yet, as you can see. Usually you would have the context menu saying AMD Radeon settings. Or now it actually does, but you don't. You don't open it yet because it can be bugged. Even if you try to see it here, you wouldn't open it yet. So what you're gonna do is restart, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do as well. And then we're right back. So we're back now, and now the clocks are being reported correctly. It's 25.3.1, and if we press right click, this should be here. If this is not here, don't be confused about it. You can still run it by typing in AMD settings, and that should usually and normally also launch it. Yes, it does, as you can see. And just to test it, if we go to performance and configuration, it should also allow us to overclock, which it does. Resizable bar works out of the box. And if we do anything here, I'm just applying my standard clocks, which I'm usually using, so it's just to show that it actually works. This is what I'm using. We go out of here, and it already updated. Yes, it does work. So that's basically it. We could try it out for a second in heaven. That's what I got on here. Full screen, nope. We just do a small window here so it doesn't get too big. Just to show that it actually works. Let it load for a second. And as you can see, it works, clocks up, just as you want it to be. And yeah, that's basically it. That's the install. If you have any questions, feel free to join the Discord server. We usually answer the questions there pretty quickly. I will link everything you need below the Discord server, the downloads for the drivers, for the specific ones, the dependencies, so basically the Radeon settings to install, as well as display driver uninstaller DU. I'm gonna link everything down below, and yeah, that's basically it. I hope you got your drivers installed correctly, and if not, well then, feel free to join Discord.